How are we doing on this lovely evening? Welcome to another loot guide. Today, it is time for Reserve. This guide will be split into two colors, blue on this side, wherever we're going with that, and red starting at the tower and looting the right side of the map. As you know, we all won't spawn in the same exact spot, so whichever loot run you spawn closest to, you'll just hop onto the line and follow her. This guide will be focused and played on PvE Tarkov, but will also work for PvP. However, in some PvP areas, might be more or less dangerous and more or less looted than mentioned. So keep that in your little noggin for now. At the end of each loot run, we will do a 3-raid average for time and money earned, and I will also give it an out of 5-star rating based on danger and overall. Now you don't need keys for this run, but of course they will greatly help. Here's some possible keys you may want and I'll mention. RBVO marked key, RBAO key, RBST key, RBKPRL key, the RBORB1, 2, and 3 keys, the RBOB key, RBBK marked key, RBPKPM marked key, RBPSV 1 and 2 keys, and RBPSP 1 and 2 keys. Now I know you're dying to stuff your little pockets, so let's get started, fellas. I'm gonna start off our red run at the dome up here. Say you spawn in this general area. Wow, congrats, you made it into Reserve. Now it's time to loot, baby. First 2 set of buildings you probably want to get to. The building down here does not require a key, and it has, I believe, a safe, a couple filing cabinets, a couple jackets, perhaps a duffel bag or 2. And then this building on top here does require a key. I believe it is the RBKPRL key. This room does have 2 safes, I think a filing cabinet, can't remember off the top of the head, and various other containers. Sometimes this key is absolute doo-doo dick because, as some of us know, safes aren't the most reliable container in the game. So you'll get anything from 10k rubles to a chainlet to SMT and all that fun stuff. So from these 2 buildings, you got 2 options the way I see it. Whichever one you take is up to you. You can either go down to the bunker here. You come down on the bunker here at the bottom right. You go down the little loop-de-loop-de-loop-de-loop. There's a few duffel bags and a few toolboxes down there that you might want to hit. And as you go along this hallway, there's a couple green crates. You come into the D2 area. Again, if you're on PvP, watch out. But if you're on PvE, there's absolutely no danger down here except yourself. Again, there's a lot of toolboxes along the sides of the walls here. And then there's this little room, not exactly on our map here, but contains a safe, a couple filing cabinets, and a bit of good loose loot. I found some good loot in this room. And of course, if you're heading down to D2, there's a lot of containers on the way down, but I'm sure a lot of you know about those. So you can go down, loot that, and go into the bunker if you'd like, but if you're not looking to go down there right off the bat, my second suggestion is make your way safely down the cliff, don't trip now, and head right into the barracks here. Now the barracks on every floor, including even the roof is pretty underrated as far as loot is concerned, but throughout the entire building there's a lot of duffel bags. Duffel bags, probably one of my favorite containers. You can find almost anything in the game in a duffel bag. I think I found a Death Shadow skull in one while I was recording for this loot guide actually. Pretty insane. Don't find those often in the wild. But yes, a lot of duffel bags throughout the floors, a couple green crates scattered around, bit of loose ammo as well. But on top of all that, we come to another set of keys, RBORB 1 and 2. I believe they are found on the 2nd and 3rd floor respectively. I don't personally run these keys because they take up a bit of space and I don't really hit the barracks too often myself. But behind these locks, a lot of weapon attachments, filing cabinets as well, I believe, weapon spawns, weapon crates even. Basically, if you're looking to take this route, you're going to want these keys. Moving right along to our next barracks here. If you have the marked key, of course, you can go straight down the rooms that are below the ground floor. There you will find the RBBK marked key. Again, hit it if you have it. You know, they're pretty doo-doo sometimes, so I don't entirely entirely blame you if you don't have marked keys. But with that being said, let's move on to some more profitable keys. Along this barracks, I believe second and third floor again, you have the RBORB3 and the RBOB key. Don't get too confused now, that's a lot of letters, I know. I can only count 27 of them. But this building is basically the same story as the last building. A lot of duffel bags throughout the floors, a couple med bags. I believe if you go right through this window, there's a couple med bags and duffel bags in this direct room. Again, the roof is pretty profitable. I don't see a lot of people loot the roof. If you're in PvP though, I'd be real careful of a boy up in Dome trying to hit you on the roof. So you're saying your pockets ain't full yet. I get it. You're picky. That's fine. Or you're just getting unlucky. And in this scenario, we move on to the school. I think some people call it the school. Black Bishop, as it seems, the kind of same story with the duffel bags. Not as many duffel bags throughout the whole building. The whole building itself, I wouldn't really spend too much time looting. The main reason we are in here is because if you go up one of these staircases and then head to this window right here, you are able to drop down onto the awning and go into the second floor PC room. Now this room technically needs a key, but you're Spider-Man in training, so you don't need a key. 90% of the time, this room is full of goodies. Unless you're in PvP and you're scavving, somebody's probably hit that bitch. And if you are somehow not full, I'd head into White Bishop. There's a few duffel bags on the first floor, and a weapon case in the far room over here. A couple weapon cases sometimes. I wouldn't spend too much time in that building, especially if you don't have the 2 medical keys. And if you brought a black hole backpack and you still need more loot, I'd loot this side of this particular middle building. But you gotta be full by now, so you either hit the alarm and head straight to extract, or if you're Mr. Moneybags, you got yourself the paracord and the Red Rebel, of course head to Dome. So that does it for our red run. Let's go to the 3 raid average for time and money. Alright, so the 3 raid average time-wise for our red run is 22 minutes and 26 seconds. Bit lengthy as far as runs are concerned, but for some of the red run raids, I did go down into the D2 bunker and then come back up to loot the barracks, so that probably extended the time a wee bit, and our average 3 raid money earned was 3.79 million. As far as a danger rating, I'll give it a 2. I mean, you're not really gonna run into too much. If you get unlucky and glue horror spawns in the helicopter area, which he often doesn't. Even if he does spawn, he'll spawn over on the blue run side here, so you don't have to worry too much about his bald ass slapping you around. Even in PvP, this run is pretty safe, although some other Tarkovers might be doing this run as well. The barracks keys are pretty popular ones to hit on reserve. Overall, I'll give it a 3.5 stars. I was gonna give it a 3 overall, but it's so safe for reserve being this safe of a run. It's pretty solid. So blue run, you spawn in at the wee little bunker down here. Look at you go. First things first I'd do from here is head into this bunker. Sorry, not bunker, barracks. And there are 2 keys in here that I usually hit. So the first key, not a lot of people hit. If you head into this door on the left, the RBAO key has a few weapon mods, loose loot, and potential weapon spawns on the rack as well. Not a lot of people hit it. It's not the best room in the world, but if you're here hitting the RBVO marked key, you might as well unlock that one. I don't know how much the key is worth, but it can't be more than 100 grand. And I'll tell you, to get an attachment worth more than 100 grand out of 40 uses, pretty likely. After you're done hitting that, before you head into RBVO, the room on the right of RBVO across from it has some good ammo spawns on the floor, so I'd check that out, and then of course hit your RBVO marked key. On one of these runs, I did find a green card in the marked room, so that will kind of be an outlier for the 3 raid average, but keep that in mind. Sometimes you're gonna get lucky, man. I'll tell you what, today's my lucky day. From here, I'd run into the main train station and cautiously loot the weapon boxes, toolboxes, and duffel bags scattered around. I say cautiously because these big old doors are open, and any raider, gluhar, or PMC that spawns in this little open area will attempt to shoot you or rush you. So once you're done with her, leave her on the side of the road and head either into the food bunker, or you can loot the center here. Again, the center is not the safest area. However, if Gluhar did not spawn, you're mostly good. You know, there's some raider spawns as well, but you got it. You can handle that. But before I talk about the top here, let's talk about the food bunker. So going down one of the ramps of the bunkers here, you're going to come out in one of these two spots. Now, Gluhar usually doesn't spawn down here, but when I was recording the runs for this video, in the first 10 minutes, I died twice to the buff succulent bald man in the bunker. It is a bit hard to see him and his goonies when he's down here because it's kind of dark. You know, they'll often hide in the corners here and catch you off guard. But if that does not happen and it looks safe, I recommend looting the hell out of this food bunker. Probably one of the best spots to loot on reserve, at least one of my favorite spots, because there is so many crates inside of these locked cages, and I will tell you the keys to these cages now. I don't know what each one is assigned to, but I could tell you all four. If you're grabbing one, you might as well grab all four. They're right next to each other. At most, they're like 70 grand a piece or something. These are the RB PSV 1 and 2 and the RB PSP 1 and 2 keys. Again, they're pretty cheap. If I'm not mistaken, I feel like I remember one of them being more expensive for some reason. Even if it is more expensive, few hundred grand, you will make that back, I promise you. A lot of medical supply crates, a lot of ration supply crates, and a lot of just general supply crates. I often find tank batteries down here if you're looking for those. But yeah, really good spot. So coming back up from the bunker, you're probably going to loot the middle area if you're still feeling peckish. And as far as the middle area goes, I only touch 4 out of the 6 buildings. These back 4 right here. This back left building has a good bit of weapon boxes. There's a few water filter spawns as well. Bit of loose loot, bit of toolboxes I'd hit. Usually then I'd go to this one right here. Again, loose water filters and loose fuel, stuff of that nature sitting around here. I don't think there's any containers in this one. After that, I'd go ahead into this building. There's a few weapon boxes behind the rack here that sometimes spawn. And then heading back to the middle back one, there's a ration supply crate, one of the supply crates there, and a few bits of loose loot. This building also has green crates, but green crates are pretty doo-doo, so I wouldn't touch them. But coming from the middle here, if you're feeling frisky and it looks safe enough, you can cross over to this barracks. I would not, however, cross over to this barracks if Gluhar or a lot of PMC spawn. They love spawning in this area. But if you're feeling confident enough, you can take them out. There's some good loot over here. And if you're a little baby like me, sometimes you can head into the medical building. You still might get shot at, but it's a lot safer than heading straight on. And then just loot from there. But if you got the cojones on you, this building has quite a lot to offer. In this front room alone, there's a potential of like 3 duffel bags, 3 jackets. The next room over, I think, has 2 filing cabinets. It's one of these 2 rooms that has 2 filing cabinets, toolboxes as well, with a tiny bit of loose loot. If you head up the stairs, you can only get to the 3rd floor from the stairs, but the 3rd floor has a lot of good loot as well. Weapon boxes, PC blocks. Onto the roof, you have a lot of loose weapon mods, a couple more weapon boxes, a couple green boxes even. If you're wanting to head to the 2nd floor of this building, however, you're gonna have to go back right around to this side of the building, wrap around the outside, hop up onto the Jeep, and head into the 2nd floor. The second floor is kind of worth it, I'd say. There's a good bit of loose weapon mods at the end of the hallway. Into the direct room on your right, there's a couple filing cabinets, and I believe some toolboxes with some loose loot. The next room over has a couple grenade cases. Grenade cases are quite good because a lot of the stuff you find in grenade cases are worth quite a lot. If you're somehow not full, you can head into the garages here, I'd call them. There's a couple duffel bags scattered around, a couple green boxes, I think even one weapon case somewhere. And if you got it, I'd hit the RBST room. It might be a bit pricey if you're getting it just to loot, but you probably already have it because it's needed for like 3 or 4 quests. So since you probably have it, might as well use that puppy. Behind this lock, there's a lot of green crates, a couple grenade cases, a couple weapon boxes, loose ammo, loose weapon mods, things of that nature. So coming out of here, whether you have Red Rebel or not, I'd head into this building. There's a couple duffel bags, couple jackets. There's a bit of loose food that sometimes spawns out here on this box for some reason. I often find oat flakes there if you're an oat flake man. And if you're really hurting for loot, this little outpost has 2 filing cabinets on the bottom floor. And then this little tiny guard post, would you call it? I believe it has a PC block and maybe filing cabinets. I don't hit it too often, but from here you can obviously hit the alarm and head straight to extract, or again, if you're Mr. Moneybags, head up to Red Rebel and take cliff descent. Phew! That's a lot of yapping. Let's get to the 3 raid averages, shall we? So our 3 raid average on the blue run as far as time is concerned is 18 minutes and 10 seconds. Bit quicker on our feet with this one. Again, it's pretty dangerous, but if you get kind of lucky with the spawns, you can kind of fly through it. You'll also fill up pretty quick, that food bunker especially if you hit all 4 cages. Anyways, moving on, 3 raid average for money on our blue run is 4.35 million. Again, that green card is kind of outlying a little bit. The green card sold for 3.2 million alone. And as far as the danger rating goes, I'm gonna be honest, I didn't stress it a lot when I was mentioning the blue run, but 4.5 on danger because of the amount of spots that Glughar can spawn over in this general area, as well as Glughar, a lot of PMCs and raiders like to spawn, scavs or whatever, they spawn wherever, and if you're dying to scavs, you might want to take a break from Tarkov for today. But yes, very, very dangerous run. And overall rating, I was going to give it a 2, but that's a bit harsh. There's a lot of good loot on this run, so I'll give it a 2.5. Can't give it much more than that because of how dangerous it is, though. All right, I believe that does it for me, fellas. As always, let me know which run you like the best. No, I didn't bring up the bunker a lot, but everybody knows about the damn bunker. No, this is all about survival. And if you want to loot and survive, and your only goal is to loot, you might not want to hit the most popular spot on the map. Anyways, that does it for me. I'm sure I missed something, so let me know in the comments and let other people know in the comments so they can get help from you as well. And as always, thank you for joining me yet again. Ciao!